Hello, 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 friends. Welcome to another episode of the Quintessence of Leadership. Here on this glorious, beautiful day, wherever you may reside on this Wednesday, I am in lovely Indiana right now. And my beautiful, esteemed guest, Karyl with the K, as I call her, is joining us from lovely Detroit, Michigan. So, once again, thank you for joining us. My name is Alicia Houston, and I just believe leadership is so much more than sitting in a stuffy office and telling people what to do. So that's what these conversations are about. Amazing business leaders who created, success on their own terms, whatever it looks like, whether in career or business ownership. And we talk about the real parts of leadership. Sometimes we talk about those parts that people don't really want to bring forward. So today, as I said, I'm joined by my beautiful friend and colleague, Karyl with the K. And baby, she is here to talk about everything image and impact. Okay. Double I, baby. So with that, Karyl, welcome and thank you for being here with us.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Alicia. Thank you for the invitation. And I love talking to you, and we are troubled together. So I am excited for this conversation.
With a capital T. With a capital T.
Exactly.
So Karyl, let's jump in. I'd love to jump in because listen, y'all, I first want to bring to your attention, just look behind Karyl. That is her beautiful studio. That is just a part of her beautiful studio. And so, Karyl really does live image. She lives impact, even who she is as just a woman in the world, as she moves through things, as you engage with her. And she's so genuine. She's so authentic. And so with that, and I think that word has just been thrown around so much, Karyl, be authentic, be authentic. But in the work you do, that is really the crux of people being who they are. So let's talk about that a little bit. So let's first talk about authenticity. How do you support your clients and in really being their authentic selves in the work that you do?
Yeah, I agree with you. I almost don't even like that word authentic because it's so overused. And, one of the things that we really want to understand about our client is when it comes to a first impression, if you walk into a room, you walk back out, or someone sees your picture, they see a video of you, what do you want them to remember about you? And then are you giving the clues to make sure that that's happening? And are you being true to yourself? So you want to call it authentic, you can call it true to yourself, whatever you want to call it, but it's your instant message. It's your I am statement. And it pays to take some time to do that. And one of the things that I'll do with clients is challenge them, because sometimes they tell me one thing and I will challenge them on, is that really what you want them to remember about you and why?
Yeah.
And, sometimes you have to dig a little bit. It's like the proverbial onion, right? You got to peel back the onion to get to the core to really understand not only why it's important, but how it's going to be important to get you to your next step.
And I want to even just put a little bit of my own personal on that. So I did some amazing work with Karyl. So for some of us, and I can speak for Alicia. So let me speak for Alicia. I have so many things flowing around in my head. I have so many ideas. I have so much I want to share. And sometimes it's hard to narrow it down into that. How do I deliver that? How do I share that with the world for my own impact? And so when I was in Karyl's studios, friends, okay, I just got to share this with you. We're doing some pieces, and baby, Karyl, stop the camera. Listen, I'm leaning in. Karyl stopped the camera and she said, I just want to bring this to your attention. And she shared some beautiful feedback with me, right? Like she said, she challenged you. And then you realize, wow, no, that's not what I want to convey. And so it was so beautiful though, right? It was in such a manner. It was so like soft and cool, but right in your face too. And I really appreciated that. And I think that we need more people that have that ability, right, Karyl, to see people when you're like, whoa, that's not really who you are, Alicia, right? So I love that you did that and that you have that gifting within you. And I like that I am statement. Come on now.
Yes. And thank you for bringing that up too. And one of the things that I tell people all the time is I am not your yes person. If you are looking to hire somebody that's going to tell you that everything is great, I'm just not your person, because you wouldn't need me if everything was great. There's a gap, there's an elevation, there's something that you're trying to do. Like, you're trying to change your impact. What do you want that to do, and how do you want it to move? And for me to just tell you everything is perfect doesn't serve you. It just doesn't. So, yeah, I never want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't bring up things to think about. And really, that's at the crux of it. What I should be doing is telling you how perceptions may be, how situations might happen, and then you get to make the choices that are good for you. How does it authentically feel to you to move in the direction that you say you want, once you understand some of the parameters around that movement, or that closing of the gap, if you will.
Yeah, I love that. And so you being of service allows me and your other clients to be of service to who they're called to as well, right? Because now that person gets to experience the truth, and they're like, yep, that's who I want to work with. That's the organization I want to align myself with. So,
and if we don't do that, sorry to interject, but if we don't do that, Alicia, we start bringing people into our worlds that we're just not a good match with. Not everybody is going to be, I'm not their person. I'm just not, I can be loud, and I've got a big laugh. And if people don't want that, then I clearly am not their person.
Right.
And that's got to be okay. That's got to be okay.
Yeah. And you did that. There was no problem interjecting. Please do that consistently. But that's the value of this, right? To your point, you've got a big laugh, you've got a big smile, you've got a big heart, you've got big energy, but everybody, I'm the same way. And I'm not for everyone either. And that is really okay. And we have to be okay, right? I want you to know if you want to play in my sandbox, like, it's okay.
Yes.
And so, Karyl, as you know, another big word that we've heard, authenticity, right? And then executive presence. You've got to have this executive presence. And I think, and I believe, and I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on this. What does executive presence mean to you? Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's funny, because when I hear executive presence, all I see is corporate. And it doesn't have to be corporate. And that is kind of the essence of it, is that your executive presence is a gift that you are giving to others to make them feel comfortable within your presence, right? And to be able to shift a little bit, because the onus of communication, this is my opinion now, but I think the onus of communication is on the communicator, the person saying the words, right? And being able to read your audience. And that's one of the things that executive presence allows you to do, is to have some good old EQ, right? It gives you the intelligence to read a room, and intelligence to walk into a room with both confidence and authority, but not alienating people, and understanding that sometimes you can overdress, and sometimes you can underdress, and sometimes you can over and underperform, and being able to, again, have the presence of mind to be authentic to who you are, but be able to shift in a way that makes you feel really comfortable and confident, and also those that you're communicating with. And executive presence does not just stop in person. It's not just for the boardroom. It's in your photos. It's in your video. It's in the content that you put out there. It is a digital presence as well as in-person presence.
Wow. I think that is one of the most robust and fully encompassing explanations I've ever heard. I love that. I'm so glad this is being recorded.
Yeah, me too. Now I can remember what I said.
You definitely need to go watch that. That was fabulous. And I love that too, because you made me think, as you were talking about, it's not just in person. I'm like, wow, you're absolutely correct, right? It's how we are, our presence, how we are conveying, even digitally, through video, through imagery, all of that. And so, Karyl, let's just rewind. How did you get into this work, ma'am?
All right. If you really want the whole truth and nothing but the truth, I wanted to go back to work and I wanted to wear fun clothes and have a good time. That's literally what I wanted to do. And when I didn't want to go back to corporate. And that was at the top of my brain, right? But really what happened was I watched somebody open an image consulting business, and I literally had never heard of image consulting. It wasn't in my vernacular. I never heard those two words put together. And I watched her for an entire year and I thought, okay, that's pretty amazing. And image, really, when you get down to it, is not about being a stylist. It's about understanding the importance of appearance, behavior, communication, and digital presence. That's really what image is. And so I watched this woman for an entire year. And I did my due diligence. I did a lot of homework. I did a lot of research to find out where I could study this that would be great for me. And so I did just that. I invested in myself and I went to work and I studied and I honed my craft. And where I am today is absolutely not where I thought I was going to be, because I literally thought, okay, I'll work with everybody. I'll make sure that they have what they need to wear. I was kind of actually thinking in a stylist's mind. But then what happened was that I realized that my business side of me was very unhappy with that. And I could not stand that people would make the change visually, but then wouldn't take that change any further. And it was very frustrating for me. So fast forward, now we're all encompassing, and we we work with people from strategy to messaging to their visual components and their creative assets.
Wow. So I love that. I really love that. And so this is the gift that keeps on giving, because as your digital assets are out there, right, as your intellectual property, like your conversations that you're having, that you're conveying, it's always out there. So I would suspect you also work with organizations too, right? Do you work with organizations?
Yeah. And I'm so glad that you brought that up too, because and you might hear some pounding going on. So right now we're in one part of what we call the creative space, where we do a lot of the media. So video, photos, that type of thing. And we traditionally have worked a lot with individual leaders and smaller teams. We are actually building out what we call the strategy suite. And we are going to be specializing in leadership offsites that are visibility offsites, right? So, there's a what I see happen all the time is that there's a lot of talk about what we should do. And those talks are maybe amongst maybe 2 or 3 people. Maybe the rainmaker is part of the discussion, or the C-suite's part of the discussion, but your everyday client-facing leaders are not. And it is time to get those people in the discussion so they understand what's important to the brand as a whole, and then to tap into their individual brands, because at the baseline, you can see I get excited here. But at the core, at the baseline, it's your people that are selling your business. And give them the tools that they need to succeed. And so what we're able to do in the strategy suite is do just that: strategize, cultivate, teach. Get excited, and then capture everything here in the creative space that they need to showcase that, right? So you can move your business further, faster when you have both the strategy and the creative together. And I just, like I mentioned earlier, it frustrates me when people plan and they don't do. Or they change one thing, but it doesn't carry over. So I've built my business on helping people get over that hump. And we've been doing that for 10 years for individuals and small teams. And now we're coming for you, corporate.
You're growing. I love that, but I love because you've mastered each level, right? Each phase. And so, and then I know you've garnered like true insights at each phase too, that then is applied to how you work with each individual, each organization, all of that. So I love that, Karyl. And I want to touch on something that you were talking about. You were talking about, and these are my words, there's kind of that disconnect. You said that, yes, you'll come and you'll put on the cute clothes or the beautiful suit, and you'll have a picture or something. but there's a disconnect because you don't carry it all the way through. And so I will even speak for even as, we were working together, right? And we continue to work together. But when I was on site, it was just lovely because it was like, it's this full encompassing experience, right? To your point. So I really feel that we get to experience who we truly are when we're with you, right? Like you help me experience and bring up those components and those pieces and things that, quite honestly, as I watch some things even that you created for me and I look at some of the assets, I'm like, did I do that? So that's
good.
So I love that you also, kind of brought me full circle that, and now I get to share that with the world in just a very authentic way, right? Who I am, how Alicia is, how Alicia expresses, because right? Because if you all see my videos, Karyl is the one that you're seeing, but you see, I'm just Alicia in the videos. And let me out myself. So at first, right, we all have the executive presence. And so I was doing my videos and Karyl was like, okay,
so you were talking really soft. Yeah, this is really soft. I'm like, Alicia, you in there?
See, this is real, but this is a real conversation. And I'm so glad that you did that because I believe, I know, I feel that you captured the true essence of me.
Oh, right? I love that. And we have such a talented team here. And and we work so well together. We're a well-oiled machine. We have a lot of fun. I mean, that, if you don't want to have fun, please don't come here.
Don't come there.
But the reality of it is that first impressions happen on so many different levels, and you don't know when somebody's going to experience you. So if you show up in person one way and then your videos look a different way, that's a disconnect that also starts the mistrust factor. Right. So if you walk in and let's say I show up on video looking like this. And then when you experience me, you come to a meeting with me and, I've got a ripped t-shirt on and a hoodie and tennis shoes and I look like I rolled out of bed. That doesn't make you feel very good. Right.
So
and it's not about perfection. It's literally about taking control of the message of you and, building your visible credibility. And that has to happen in person and digitally. Yes. And again, companies spend a lot of money on the brand of the company as a whole, which is important. Of course, it's important. But when you boil down what happens next, it's not the logo or the company sign that's making a sale. It's the person on the phone. It's the person that's, at the meeting or in the video. And if we don't, as consumers, feel that trust and credibility with that person, we are going nowhere. Yesterday, I literally, we're doing this build out and I had to buy some appliances for our little kitchenette.
Yes.
I was really happy when I bought them. There was a mistake that was made. That was partially my fault and partially their fault. But when I tried to get it fixed, it was such a debacle and so upsetting that I returned all of it. And I will start again because they wasted my time. And that was because of the people that were in front of me at that next step were not trained well, didn't do a good job, weren't clear of what should be happening. And I did this. I walked in. So I'll go somewhere else. And then conversely, we ordered some equipment from a company that I had not worked with before. And Marty, who works for me, suggested it. And let me tell you, I ordered it. They called me to make sure that I knew that it had shipped. She said, when you get it, if you have any questions, please reach out. Basically we are a concierge service. Yes. It wasn't any more expensive than the big box store. But I had the one-on-one credibility working in the favor that I needed, right? And especially to have both of those things happen at the same time.
I mean,
one big box and one curated, the pricing was almost the same. And truthfully, even if the second one had been a little bit higher, I would go back just because it didn't waste my time.
I love that. I love that. And I'm hearing truly like how you, the consumer, experience them
Yeah.
the vendor, you know, the
Mhm.
creator.
Yeah.
And so that's so important, how people experience us. You help
Yeah.
people experience us the same way, right? Like that
Right.
it's curated, that they feel white glove, they feel they're being touched and spoken to
Yeah.
so easily. I love that. And how funny, ironic actually, both of those experiences like literally that close together.
Within hours of one another. And again, the funny thing is one is big box. It is a logo. It is a brand that everybody knows. It's
Mhm,
everywhere you go. And the
mhm.
other one isn't. The other one
Mm.
isn't, but I will tell you where I will go from now on. And that is exactly what happens with people,
Mm.
and as companies, if we are not investing in our people, again, and
Yes.
not every person in your company needs to be forward facing and
Right,
needs to do all the things, right?
right.
But the people that are in charge of bottom line, and it's a direct, think of people in professional services,
Right.
finance, that type of thing, like that credibility and that trust is a factor that absolutely drives bottom line. And when
Absolutely.
you put parameters on them where they can't give their own thought leadership and they can't um, stand out amongst their competition, you are absolutely hurting your business because you can
Yes,
go somewhere else.
exactly.
Yeah, because
And
the consumer doesn't care about what's happening internally. They
that part,
don't care. They don't
that
care. What
part.
we care about is what we can find. And if you
Exactly.
can't show me what I'm looking for, your competitor will.
Ooh, that is so real.
Mhm.
And if you can't show me so that I can make an informed decision, to your point, if I have any confusion, then I'm gone too, because I'm like, okay, wait,
Yeah.
wait. To your point, you look
Mhm.
this way here, but now I'm seeing you in person and I'm
Yeah.
confused and I'm
Yeah.
saying no.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
and it is something that it happens. It happens. What do I want to say? You're always in a position of change, right? Nothing is
Yes,
ever going to be static. As a matter of fact,
absolutely.
this weekend I worked on the copy of my own website because with the opening of the strategy suite,
Hmm.
things had to change. If you went and read if you went to my website and read it Friday,
Okay.
you would assume one thing. Your message would be one thing, and it would not include where we're going to. And all I had
Mm.
to do was just change some of the messaging and change some of the words and the inclusion and take some things out. And
Yeah.
it is a better, more direct read for those that are
Yeah.
coming to that website. The next
Right.
thing that has to change, of course, is photos and videos. So
Right.
you're always in a flux or a stage of influx, and you're always in a stage of
Absolutely.
up level. You have to be, because if you're not, then all of a
Mm.
sudden, again, perception goes to they're not up to date and relevant. They don't
Yeah.
care. They don't pay attention.
Right.
They're not detail oriented.
Right.
Now you've got a
Right.
whole litany of problems that you didn't know you had.
Yeah. And I love that you're bringing light to this, because this is very real for organizations, right?
Mhm.
These challenges that they navigate internally as well. And you want to be careful that if you are navigating, because like you said, the consumer doesn't care, you
Right.
know, that
Right.
if you are navigating, that's why leadership is so important. And Karyl,
Mhm.
even your leadership, when as you are navigating a build out, right over there across the hall, you're navigating the next level, the future forward. Yes, you have an amazing team, but there's all these pieces, and
Mhm.
yet you still have to show up powerfully when people are in there for their impact sessions with you,
Yeah,
right?
they don't care what's happening over there. It's irrelevant. What they care is the output that I give them. And
Ex-
so, taking care of your business
mm,
behind the scenes is very important. And,
yes,
the other thing that people forget is that you have internal and you have external customers,
yes,
and your image makes a difference there as well.
yes.
Your
Oh,
personal
I love
brand makes a difference there as well. How is your team relating to you? What have you given them to relate to?
it.
Are
Yes.
you who you are? When you walk
Mhm.
into a room, are you the same person as who shows up online, or is there a
Mm,
disconnect and they're like, oh yeah, she seems great online, but you should see her behind the scenes. She's a train wreck,
right.
right?
And
Yeah.
we've heard that before we've
Yes.
heard
Yeah.
that from brands, right? It's chaos in
Mhm.
between the four walls, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And it's interesting as I say all these words out loud, I don't know that if I had started this business earlier in my life, if I would be as effective, because now at the age that I'm at, which we won't talk about it, but like at my stage in life, I don't need to put on airs. I'm over it. What you see is what you get. And again, if you don't like it, that's okay. You don't have to be here.
Exactly.
But it makes you feel good when you can kind of settle into that, and then you can develop the executive presence to make it work for all parties involved.
Yes. And I agree with you, Karyl. Where I am now at my age, I just do believe it's an iterative process. And of course, people get there when they get there. If they do it all, to each their own. But I don't think that I would be as effective in what I do now without the phases of life and the experiences and the bumps and the trying things and the failures and the successes, right? All of that.
And going through the things that weren't easy. So you can have empathy when you need to have empathy, and you can set boundaries when you need to set boundaries, right? So it's both the ability to let go a little bit, and also to bring in, so that life is happy.
Right, for the most part, right? We know there's some bumps now and then, but and Karyl, we're going to be wrapping up soon, but I think, where would you say, so let's say someone is in a space, one of our viewers, anybody watching us live or watching us on the replay, is in a place that, where do I start, right? If they say, where do I start? Where do they start, Karyl? What is that? Where do they start? Yeah.
If you're an individual and let's say you run your own small consultancy or what have you, I think what you need to do is really think about what you want your first impression to say about you, so that you can build the foundation. Because if you can build that foundation and you can build that I am statement, that instant message, that impact message, then that becomes a foundation for everything you do. It acts as a check and balance. So if I said to you, I want everybody to think that I'm super creative, and I showed up in a tailored blue suit with very simple jewelry, you're not going to see creative.
No,
you're just not going to see it, right? And it seems simplistic, and it is simplistic, but it's also hard to get to where you want it to be. But if you can really determine what is important to you and why it's important to you and why it might be important to your audience, that will help immensely. On the team side, again, what are the goals the team is supposed to be accomplishing, and are you giving them the tools to do that? And you have to think about today's world. Today's world does not consist of going to networking and shaking hands and that's it. It just doesn't. It also consists of a digital component. And if you're not giving your team the digital component, and they don't understand even how to use the digital component, you got a problem. And you can't just depend on your rainmakers, because the rainmakers are going to move on. And then who's coming up from there? So you've got to make sure that you're looking at the layers that you have and prepping people in a way that makes sense for today, and not even 2020, but today.
Yes. And I love you're talking about the life cycle, right? Like, you're really talking about this life cycle, and a lot of leaders miss it.
Yeah,
they miss it.
Yeah,
right.
And like then they're surprised that something happened.
That's what I was just about to say. The rainmaker is like, I'm out. I got something else, and you're like, wait, because you haven't put enough efforting and thought into the life cycle. What does it look like, and how do I create that, and how do I create that I am statement, right? And that digital impact as well. So, because that's a gift that just keeps on giving, because we all know it keeps living, right? Someone will go Google you. They'll be like, I saw a video of you 20 years ago. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's still
up. And that's the thing. You are being vetted. I mean, literally every day. Right now, somebody is looking up Alicia Houston with no O, and they are finding information. And what they find is going to determine what that next step is. And it happens 24/7. So you can be at your kid's event. You could be, in Hawaii. It doesn't matter, because it's still happening. And if what they see does not serve them, they will go to your competition.
And that's the era we live in right now, Karyl, right? Like, that is real. People are looking you up. They're looking at your digital footprint, your digital imprint, your digital image, all of that. And that's why I'm so grateful that I found you and that we were able to connect, and you're able to support me in getting my I am statement out there too, like who I am, who my organization is, who we serve. And then I get to call in others who are aligned with me and my messaging and my vision and values. So, Karyl, as we are wrapping up, what is one last little tidbit you would love to leave with our viewers?
Gosh, we have a really a unique mini audit, if you will, a mini image impact audit. So if you're a client-facing leader or if you're in the franchise world, I encourage you, visit the website, scroll down to the end of the homepage, and there's an opportunity to take, it's 15 questions, around 15 questions. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you some insight as to what I see. But it'll give you an idea of where your strengths is. Oh, that's easy for me to say. Strengths are, and where some gaps are as well. And go from there. And there's a lot of moving pieces to getting it right. And it does take investment. So, if you think it's like a $200 fix, it just really isn't. It doesn't matter who you go to. You're going to have to invest in yourself and be willing on a time perspective and an open mind perspective, and yes, a financial perspective as well.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for joining us, Karyl with the K. If you're watching us on LinkedIn, you can click Karyl's whole profile. She is a hoot. She will absolutely connect with you. Just tell her you saw us here. If you're watching us on YouTube, all of Karyl's information is below. I highly encourage you to reach out. There are just many opportunities and ways to just work with her, and she gives you tidbits, get on her newsletter, all the things, right? Because there's always ways to gather information that we can up level and iterate who we are and how we show up with our image and impact. So, yes, thank you for joining us for another episode of Quintessence of Leadership. Thank you, Karyl with the K. I love you. I'm so glad you said yes. And to all of our viewers, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Alicia. Love you too. Bye.
That's a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. Do you have some thoughts, comments, questions as well? Drop them below. I'd love to hear them and actually respond to you as well. Don't forget to hit that little bell that you see, because it'll notify you next time any new opportunities are posted to this channel. So thank you again. And until next time, remember, continue to build trust to transform. Whether it's transforming your community, your home, your business, your workplace, your voice is required. Looking forward to seeing you then. Bye.